live for the 141st episode of the
Let's go podcast. And we all made it. We survived the amazing, unbelievable RSK tournament as we have all grown to love here. Of course, we got Big League Dicker and Jesse Rosenberg, who has really taken the RSK organization and brought this tournament and really made it into something that I think the whole softball world has tremendous amount of akars tov to everyone involved in RSK, specifically Yossi here. Another fantastic day, another fantastic event. Year number 5 was absolutely crazy. Not only the event obviously was unbelievable for the kids and the families and the players, but also just the turnout, the way things turned out, specifically in Tier 1. I think no one expected. Big League could talk more on Tier 2, but we're very happy to have Big League and Yossi here to talk about RSK.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
the new king of softball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, see, we gotta frame that and put it right behind you. Screw your diplomas. This is
I love it. I love it.
that's great.
I just put that right over the diplomas. Like,
Exactly. Wow.
It's worth a lot more than whatever crappy law degree you got, Yossi.
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome
I
to the
love it.
podcast, and just to channel Ava, yeah, it was a really fun day. I was there for the first time in 3 years. Thank God it wasn't 102 degrees yesterday, which I feel like is an RSK minhag. But anyway, welcome, Yossi.
Thanks. Yeah, we this year we decided to switch it up with the weather. We did the hot. No, just a little change. We did the hot. We did the rain.
You actually got a teeny bit of mist, Yossi, for a second. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. But then it stopped right away.
In middle of the game, I was like, wait a second, this cannot be happening.
Yeah.
Quickly go check the forecast, and I'm like, the forecast says 0%. How is this happening?
Yeah.
And then it was fine. But
We
yeah,
used,
I
to
had
have
that moment.
we used to have that joke by like Bike for Chai in Camp Simcha, like when it would rain, we'd like walk up to the guys who were running the whole event and they were like hustling around trying to get, we're like, why would you schedule a bike ride on a day where it was gonna rain? Like why would you schedule rain today? Like why?
You know,
So,
one
yeah,
of my
thank God.
one of my biggest, I don't call pet peeves is, and it's now in my WhatsApp, like whatever my status or whatever you want to call it, with anytime in the past bunch of years where there's been rain in the forecast, like even the week before, people start texting me like, have you seen the forecast? I'm like, what do you think? You think I'm oblivious? You think I'm like running this event and I know nothing? I'm not checking? Really? Really?
We know your WhatsApp. That's your WhatsApp signature, or whatever it's called. It says,
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
it says, I know the forecast. F off. I mean. Anyway,
You're paraphrasing. I get it.
Baruch Hashem, it was beautiful yesterday, and you walked away a champion.
Finally.
Finally,
5
yes.
years.
Tell us more about the finally.
5 years we've been doing this. This is the 5th year, and we got close every year. We made first 3 years we made the semis. Last year we made the championships. We've been eliminated every single time by Uri Adler. Finally, we got the chance to eliminate him.
4 out of 4
go.
years? Wow, that's pretty amazing. And it's
Yep.
pretty amazing also that he's not, that there wasn't a psychological, kind of complex that you couldn't beat him and you got over the hump. I guess it wasn't easy because it went 3 games.
I was gonna say,
The
if
last one was
anything,
3-2.
if anything, the psychological complex probably got even harder, being that it went. They won game 1. Yossi's team won game 1. Uri then wins game 2 and forces a game 3. I would think it gets even harder in that moment.
Well, here's the thing with game 1, what really gave us a boost was I think we were down like 5-0 at one point. And we came back and scored. I think we won 10-5. That was the score. Like we just came storming back and won, and that was a big boost. But honestly, like even after last year when we lost in the championships, we lost like 3-2, and it really could have gone either way. It wasn't like we were just overmatched. It's softball. Like someone's got to win. A 3-2 game. It was clean, and they just got that one extra hit. Like it's gonna happen. So it wasn't like we felt like, oh, here we go again. They're a super team. We can't match up. We were there. They're a great team.
So let's get into this super team thing very quickly, actually. first of all, it does seem like Urieta has a super team for what it's worth, but then you also have Jonas and Lowinger, a good buddy with the super team, and they get knocked out in the semis by Avi's squad, which was really had a lot of talented players, a lot of guys I've gotten to know recently. Um, Talented players, not people who would be necessarily considered a super team. Good example, for example, Aaron Scheinbein, not a super team because he basically just joined the HSL culture. Even he just moved here. Not too many people know him. A lot of people on the team would not be considered super by any stretch. And then they knock off the Jonas and Lowinger built team. Obviously, they were close games, but it didn't even go to 3 games. Now, to throw Uri Adler a bone, he just messaged me. He said he threw me under the bus. I usually get on the post RSK podcast. I said there's a new king of softball in town. He said you threw me to the curb. I said you sure did. There's a new king. There's a new king in town. Step aside, kid. So he's saying, oh, you cocky Five Town. I'm not you. I'm not for the Five Towns, but the cocky Five Towns kids. He's referring to Jonas and. He said, they thought they'd make this super team, and 2 minutes later they're out of the tournament. So, coupling that with the fact that I spoke to Yossi Kaufman, as we call the sheriff, briefly, and you could tell me if this is true or not, Yossi. He said, I think Yossi Rosenberg's team is a lot of people who play together, know each other well, which might be very helpful in terms of chemistry and other things, which was an interesting concept to me. Like Yossi said, if I brought a team that I won a championship with in HSL or MSL or in whichever, I know he hasn't won an MSL championship, he said, I feel like it would be just as helpful as having a super team. I don't know your thoughts, Yossi.
I don't know if I would say just as helpful as having a super team, because at the end of the day, the talent needs to be there, and a super team helps a lot, right? You can't come with a B-level squad, and I'm saying that very specifically because I don't think Avi's team was a B-level squad. I think we can all agree that on paper his team was the weakest in A.
By the way, Yossi, I would emphasize I would say we're strong. I think debatably we were a high level B squad. I don't think we were a low level B squad. I think we're a team that could have either been a very top tier 2 team or a very bottom tier 1 team. I think that's right.
So I think if you ask me, I think you were a bottom tier A team, but I guess the top of B and the bottom of A, you can quibble over exactly where that line is, but. And now I lost my train of thought here. But anyway, where I was gonna go is you can't come with, let's say, a mid-level B team and say, oh, we have got great chemistry, and then expect to compete in A. It's not going to happen. The talent has to be there. But at the end of the day, you have to remember this is like it's a long haul. You're playing a lot of innings for a lot of hours, and without the chemistry, the energy just dies. And you're going out there and you're going out for your 18th inning, your 19th inning, and you don't have that energy. You don't have that little bit to make that extra play, to run the extra base, and those are the things that are going to come back to bite you. Especially if you're playing against that team, that does have that energy and is going to push it, and they're making that one extra play. They're making that Superman dive. Like, they're doing those things. You're not gonna win.
Wow, Yossi giving himself a little bit of a pat on the back right there.
If there's a day he can toot his horn, today's the day.
That's true.
Yeah. But I think that's what ends up happening is, like, guys are tired, their energy is gone and sucked out. And look, I'll tell you, like, last year when we got to the championships, we couldn't find that energy. We just had guys basically sitting on the bench, just blah. And then it shows up on the field. It really, really does. When you have the right group of guys who are feeding off each other and are feeling good, and you have that necessary level of talent, it's going to go a lot further than having much better talent and just dead.
So on that note, let's now get to Big League Dicker over here. Switching gears to Tier 2 for a minute. Me and Big League, we go back a couple of seasons now. Played on Sundays, 2 or 3 years in a row. We're actually in a championship right now on Sundays, and God knows if we'll ever play Game 3.
God, you'll be a Zadie by the time we
I'll
get
be a Zadie by the time we get to Game 3. Yeah. Put together what looked like an exceptionally strong. What was the name of your team, Dicker? I just want to pull it up. I want to pull up the roster. Do you know?
Metro Builders, Metro something.
Metro Builders. So a lot of guys on that
Yeah.
team I know very well. We got Big D Manella, Gindoff, Eli Sabo, Josh Pewdie. Gestetner, I heard, is a wonderful player. Was he there yesterday?
Gestetner last minute couldn't play. He was supposed to. He was supposed to play and then even leave early for a wedding or something. But then last minute he wasn't able to play.
Oh, so that's a shame. I don't know the shippers. Slomwood's a very competent pitcher. Who's your second pitcher?
There were these three brothers who it's like their team. They've been playing with
The Shippers?
Slomowitz they've been playing with Slomowitz for the last year or two in RSK, I believe, and they're three brothers, all great players. So there's one brother, Kuti Shipper, who was like the captain. He was our second pitcher. He came in. Him and Ari split like the first two games, and then Ari pitched the third game. He was he was great. Got the ball over, didn't walk anybody. Our field was very strong. And yeah, it really it was again. We didn't know there were two other guys. One guy's name was Margolis. I don't remember his first name, and this other guy.
He's my
Goldstein.
cousin. Yeah, I know him.
Oh yeah. So him and
Good
this guy
player.
Goldstein. Yeah,
Good
great
player.
player. That guy goes oppo like better than anyone I've ever seen. Like he dunks it down the right field line exactly where he wants to. Like every time. Like he's a great hitter and he was a great fielder. And
If
then
you were
this other
building,
guy.
just interrupt you for the second. Hypothetically, if you were building an RSK team for 2027, would you add Yisrael at the top of your list? Tier B.
It's a tough question.
Okay.
The only reason I wouldn't is just because I don't know him. He's a really nice guy. I met him yesterday, but I tend to, when I'm joining a tournament, I like to get talent. I also like to, get guys that I don't mind spending the day with. Guys who, like Yossi was saying, that like that chemistry, that like because it really does give you that energy and that like want to go back out on the field with guys that A, how to play with, and B, that you enjoy playing with. If you have a guy that you don't know, he could be the best player from today till tomorrow. There is something about chemistry.
Like
probably
Pewdie,
less than
Pewdie. You don't want to Pewdie's
Yeah,
a great player,
me-
not the kind of guy you want to spend the day with, though, right?
I love spending the day with Pewdie. Yeah, no, me, Manella, and Pewdie, we've been playing together for like a while now. That like we knew that we wanted it. We joined Slomowitz's team together. Like us three were looking to join the team, and then we spoke to Slomowitz, and he said like, yeah, perfect match. We came, and it was a great fit. But us three have been playing Gindoff. We haven't played together with Knights, but we play with him in the morning. So we don't have as much chemistry with Gindoff, but we do have good chemistry with him.
Big league?
Yeah, I
Why
was
the
gonna
early
say, let's cut to the
exit
chase here. We're talking.
Cut to
This
the
is
chase.
an
Very early
RSK.
exit.
This is an
I get
RSK.
there- One second. Let me just. I'm second, Avi. I get there with my family around 2:30, 2:15. Somebody comes over to me, says Edelman just knocked off the first game of the semis, or I came for the end. I said, oh, awesome, things are looking up. I said, okay, what's going on with my other boys? Gindoff and company. And 20 minutes later, I see Slomowitz sheepishly walking around with a baby carriage, and I say that can't be good. I love Slomowitz, and I thought these guys were going to be going deep, and my heart fell, and then I was forced to watch Avi for the next 45 minutes because I had nowhere else to go. Sorry.
To be honest, I don't exactly know. Our first game was great. We blew them out of the water. I think we won like 13-0.
This is your first playoff game or your first play-in game?
No, first game of the day. First seeding game, I guess you could call it. Our first game, we played some team from Muncie, nice guys. We beat them like 13-0. They weren't hitting. They didn't have a strong field. We were just doing exactly what we were supposed to. Base hit, down and hard. Our fielding was stellar. Like no mistakes. Maybe one bad throw, and we recovered from that like quickly. We were playing great. We were feeling it. We were getting in the groove. And then once you get into like that blowout phase, you kind of just like have more fun with it. So the first game we took no problem. Second game we played a great team, which was a really good, really great back and forth game. We played the Yossi, I don't know, the other guy who runs it with you, Ackerman.
Psakia,
yeah. We were playing them. I knew a bunch of guys from their team from Havistraw. Also really solid players. Very well matched game. It was like 2-0, then it was 4-2, then it was 4-up, then 6-4. I think the game ended up being 8-6 or 7-6 was the final. They beat us in like the top of the last inning on an unfortunate error. But that was like a great back and forth game, and I'm like, you know what? Like, okay, fine. We're definitely gonna be able to compete in this tier 2 throughout the day because like we have the talent. And this team is great, and I knew that they were 2-0 at that point. After they beat us, they were 2-0. They were 2-0. So we were very like confident in going into it, and then the third game. First of all, after all that pasta and pizza, all bets are off. All right, that'll slow you down like you wouldn't believe, and like. Taking a break for that long. Also, I had to participate in some Sheva brachas that I didn't know about. Moshe Zinn deciding to just turn RSK into the freaking, his whole family event. No, I'm kidding. Shout out Moshe Zinn. Mazel tov to him.
You didn't sound like you were kidding.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no. So then after
Shout
that,
out Moshe Zinn also for making it to the Knicks parade like a day after his wedding, as well as other
oh my God,
incredible
I didn't think
accomplishments.
What a baller, by the way. What a baller. Shout out to Moshe Zinn's wife. I think she gets the biggest shout out of everybody, man. That's amazing.
It's insane. It's insane how they pulled that off. But like,
Yeah.
nobody else but Moshe Zinn would do that. And
Well,
I think it's.
I might
Navi Edelman.
I might have tried.
Edelman.
I might have tried.
Right.
I think I could have done it. But yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. So
Yeah, I did play.
Avi,
I did.
Avi tried to convince his wife to have the baby at the tournament.
I was gonna say I did finish up RSK within like 5 hours, and my wife going into labor, so that was close.
Right. Avi would love his wife to just give birth on home
It's
plate
so
and be
funny.
like,
It's so funny how memorable it was. Just like every year at RSK, I think I might have had at least 13, 14 people come over to me and my wife, and be like, "Oh, so like did your son turn 3 yet? Is he turning 3 like today? Was it a few days ago?" Like, cause it's always the memory that was right after the tournament ended. Like, whoa, this year was a lot of when's the upshare? That's what I got for when's the upshare from everybody because they saw he was still with the long hair. I got it from like at least 10 or 11 people. That was good. Sorry.
Yeah, but Avi, you would love that. I mean, but anyway, yeah. So Moshe Zinn, shout out Moshe Zinn. But then after that, we went to the field. We were feeling confident, good. We loved Slomowitz on the mound. We were ready to go. And to be honest,
and you guys lost. You stink. That's what happened.
Do you want to let me talk, Avi, or do you want to?
Yeah.
We don't hear you. We don't hear you yapping enough, Edelman.
Sorry.
All right.
Go ahead. Big League.
We just didn't hit. They opened up. They're a great team. We lost.
Who'd you play?
First of all, we
Who'd you
lost
play?
to the champions.
Who'd you play?
I don't
Oh.
know black jerseys.
The Shorts Bros.
I don't know who we
I
played.
heard
All I know is that
there's
we
We'll
lost
get
to
to
the
that
champions.
soon. I heard this morning that there's an asterisk on their.
This is what I heard too. Which Yossi, we would all go back to that park and play our game again because we would protest that if there was ineligible players, we would protest.
There's no need to replay it.
Let's not use the word protest in the park. Let's avoid protest in the park.
That was the biggest letdown of the day, Yossi. I'm just saying, okay? We're going to get to that later. But anyway, yeah, so we lost to the champions. They come out in the top of the first. They probably had 6 base hits in a row. Good, clean base hits. Nothing you could do about it. They were finding every hole in between shortstop and third base, 1 or 2 up the middle, literally left side. David Manello was the busiest I've ever seen him in the top of that first inning. Just picking up ball, hitting the cutoff, picking up the ball, hitting the cutoff. And then we finally got out of it after they scored 3 or 4 runs, I believe. And from there on, guys were hitting, but not at the same time. Like 2 outs, guy gets on first, 3 outs. First and second, pop out. Like we just were. And then it will come like the third inning, we just didn't hit at all after that. We had 1 or 2 mistakes on the base pass on the bases. I had second and third 2 outs and I couldn't get it done. We just weren't hitting. And at that point we're tired. They have a lot of momentum. They tacked on a few more in the later innings.
You got blown out, Digger?
No. The final score was like 5-2 or 5-3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was really just.
I was gonna say because I never heard of anybody getting blown out in an RSK game, especially come playoffs.
Yeah, unheard of. But the championship, forget about it. But yeah, that's really what happened. And again, at that point, morale's down. And I'll be honest, these other guys that we don't know, the nicest guys in the world they'll ever meet. The fact that you don't know them and that you don't have chemistry with them. There's something about when you're walking up to a guy on the side, you're like, guys, let's go, heads up, everybody's a hitter. Like when a guy you know is saying that to you, or that you don't know is saying that to you, or you're saying to a guy you don't know, you don't have that like, okay, like I trust this guy, I know this guy is gonna get on base for me, I know he's gonna get on, and I'm gonna bring him in. Like there's something, not that you try less hard, there's really just something that you don't there's a chemistry that you don't have. And again, I'm not saying that's why we lost. That's obviously not why we lost. We lost because we did not hit straight up. And then somebody made a mistake in the outfield that tacked on like another 2 or 3. And at that point, like it was the last inning, and it was all over from there.
It was bye big league. Bye big
It was
league.
bye. But Dicker did have a double in the last inning. I will say I slid into second for the first time in probably 6 years. So shout out to Dicker for actually getting down and sliding.
Dicker, you're on base too much to need a runner at this stage of your career.
I didn't take a runner. I mean, listen, it was like running in a sandbox yesterday on that field, that last one. So I'm like, of course I'll slide into sand.
Some of the fields were a little rough with the sand. I think because it hasn't rained.
Hasn't rained.
So everything's been so dry.
Yeah.
And
my knees were not happy with me, like trying to round
Dick, are
second
you a
base.
free agent for next year's RSK, or even with your early exit, you're running it back with this squad?
I'm gonna keep my decisions to myself. All right, you can speak to my agent. I'm gonna be putting out a press release of where I'll be going next year. I might get signed to a max contract by somebody. You'll hear about it. Don't worry.
All right, let's bring it back to Tier 1. So Avi Edelman, his return to RSK. It's not really a return. I guess you've been there every year. I don't know why it always feels like a return. There's just a lot of drama with your RSK team every year. You've played every year in the end?
The reason why I feel like a return is because I don't, unfortunately, I don't have a team. My team, that was my team after 2 years, didn't work out. And, once that team didn't work out, I was sort of messed up on the other side because all my other boys played with Jonas and Lohinger, and they already had a team established by then. So I lost the team that I started with. I was too late on the team that I typically would run with. So the last 3 years, every year, I've been bouncing around because I don't really have a team. That's why I think it feels like.
Avi, considering that you run several softball leagues, I would think you'd be in a good position to put together a team for RSK.
So you're asking why I didn't the last 3 years?
Except, Avi, why I get a call 2-3 Erev Shabbosim ago. I'm about to walk into the mikvah, and Edelman and Gottlieb are like, Dicker, who can Edelman add to his Tier 1 squad in RSK? And I'm like, you coming to me? Yeah, you really need help. Like,
well, listen,
you really need to get some,
I told myself, I said, there's no way I'm going to miss RSK, but I also didn't have the energy to build a team. I said, one of two things are going to happen. Either someone's going to get hurt, which I never wish upon anybody, but someone always gets hurt, and I'll get a call up to some Tier 1 team. But I said, hopefully it doesn't happen. The better option is, hopefully, eventually, Yossi will give me an offer I can't refuse, which I won't say on the podcast in terms of fundraising and stuff. They obviously needed a fourth Tier 1 team, and I'm not going to be able to refuse it. Like, I'm too much of a softball junkie to say no eventually. And basically, that's what happened. I was given around 2 weeks to build a team as best I can. I didn't make many phone calls. I wanted to make sure it was as competitive as possible. And I did the best I could. And I think that's why there's a feeling of, like, I'm returning every year. I'm making my big comeback because I'm not a part of a team that I'm coming back with every year. I'm in a different spot with different people. I was with Yossi and his guys 1 year. I was with a bunch of 12th graders 1 year. And then I brought my own team last second this year. So it's like 3 different worlds I've been playing with as of recently. And yeah, I think that's where.
But I think now, Avi, you have a spot, you have a chance to like make this your team. Obviously, it was kind of a weaker, but you went all the way to the championships, so you've got a solid base there to build on now. And you go into next year and you try to add some talent to it.
Add some, poach some. There's a little bit of everything over there.
Look, let's be honest. That stacked team couldn't get it done. You got to imagine there's going to be some consequences on that roster in terms of who's staying there, which means you might be looking at some guys looking for something fresh.
Yeah,
and if you merge that, you're going to have 2 or 3 Tier 1 teams, unless you're going to convince some of the good Tier 2 teams to move up to Tier 1.
Not merge. He's talking the opposite. He's saying the opposite of merge.
That team will break apart.
Yeah, he's saying
into 2.
He's saying squid. Anyways, where are you going with that, Dave? You brought up Tier 1. What was it?
Well, tell us about your experience yesterday.
I think similar to the it's actually very funny. I don't want to plug the Chavetz Chaim raffle now that it's over, but wait, where I'm going with this.
Wait, there was a Chavetz Chaim raffle?
There was. So I wait where I'm going with this. So the Chavetz Chaim raffle, actually it's a very good comparison. And I'm being serious. You might laugh, people might watch, you might think like, what are you talking about? The Chavetz Chaim raffle campaign, I raised the least amount of money I raised in the last 5 years. Yet, I still hold the final 2 days of the raffle was the most thrilling 2 days and probably the biggest mini accomplishment I had throughout the whole, even though ultimately I failed. I personally failed. I didn't raise as much as I could have in the 5 years. In the last 5 years, I raised the least. I still feel like those 2 days from getting from 88,000 to 103, whatever it is, was massive. It was very similar in the RSK tournament in the sense where, we brought a team that obviously was a very, very low-level A team at best. Koenig obviously is a star, he's a stud, and we had very good players throughout our roster. But compared to the other teams, like we were really no shaykhs, like to be honest. However, and I told my team before the tournament, I said there's 3 things that if anybody does in softball, it's almost impossible not to be competitive. It's fielding. It's, fielding/pitching, fundamentals, and hitting. So if we check off all those boxes, it is impossible that we won't be in any game. I said on the flip side, and I was very honest with my team, I said if we don't check off all 3, we're probably going to lose. If we only check off one of the 3, we're probably going to get beaten bad. And if we don't check off any, we're going to get embarrassed. So I said we have to lock in. And it's exactly what happened in the first 2 playing games. We were very sloppy in the field. Pitching wasn't great. We didn't hit at all. And we got blown out in both playing games. Uri's team, we were a little bit in the game. We took the lead 4-2, ended up losing 11-4 against us. We lost like 9-0 or something. And, come the semifinals, like, it was, going back to the Chavetz Chaim raffle comparison, even though ultimately we ended up getting blown out by 13 runs in the championship, like, those are probably 2 of the most thrilling wins I've ever been a part of in my life. And I've seen a lot of a talk on different chats. Baruch Hashem, I'm privy to be on different chats, the MSL chat, the HSL chat. I have a very different take than a lot of people on there. A very, very different take, and I'm very passionate about it. Listen, having 17-man roster, obviously there are its downsides, right? You have guys sitting there, on the bench the whole game when typically they're used to being in the field. Yosef Grossman told me he went to go catch hitting just because he was getting so cold. He needed to feel like he was doing something, and that's all true. It's granted. I've heard a lot of, HSL, all-star team, they're living in their own bubble, and once they come out of the bubble, they can't really compete. I think it's really the opposite. I think that they're obviously tremendously talented. The playing games obviously don't mean anything, but they did beat Yossi Rosenberg's roster that, I'm not saying they maybe they didn't try. Like, you could say maybe they didn't try. It was basically their full roster. They beat them pretty handily. They beat Uri's roster. Obviously, they're missing Sammy, but they're a tremendously good team. I think what happened I think they ran into a team like us that did everything absolutely perfect. And as I told them before the tournament, if we do everything to perfection, there is no team that could blow us out, and anything could happen. And that's what happened. We didn't wipe the floor with them. We beat them in extra innings, back-to-back games. I think me and Koenig walked 2 guys between both of us in both games. Our field had 1 error total between both games, and we didn't hit at all. I wasn't expecting to hit. We don't have a strong lineup compared to other teams. We faced great pitching, but we hit just enough and timely enough to beat them. And I think that's what happened. I don't think it's that, these guys are overrated. These guys didn't play well. I think we played absolutely perfect softball that if we play that way against any team, put any all-star team, any star-studded team against us, I'm not saying we're automatically going to win because we weren't automatically going to win against these guys, but we will be in any single game the way we played. And what happened was, come championship, we went from checking off all 3 boxes to once again checking off 0 boxes, throwing the ball around, errors, not hitting a lick, and we got blown out as we deserved to. So I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think it's whether this team's overrated or that team's overrated. I think we just played, and that's why I say I think it was 2 of the most thrilling ones I was ever a part of, because we played such perfectly sound softball, like just to perfection. That we were able to be in the game, and luckily we came out with 2 big walk-offs to win it. And I think that's what it comes down to. That's my assessment of the day.
I agree with Avi. I think he's 100% right, and this is what I've been saying. I've been playing the tournament. This is the 5th year. That's why I firmly believe that the path to winning a championship is having a dominant defense. For all the reasons saying, obviously you can't have auto outs up and down your lineup, but it's make sure that you're doing all those things perfectly, and that is the path to winning. And that's really what it comes down to. And you want to know something? When they beat us in the seeding games, they won 7-0 or something. It really came down to we didn't play the field cleanly, and you give them an extra at bat, you give them an extra runner, and there you go. And that's what's going to happen. You play cleanly, you're going to be in every single game, and it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, yes, that team was, we'll say it was stacked, right? But these guys are not hitting them 800 feet where you can't defend. You can defend it.
By the way, Brescher almost hit 800 feet. I don't know if you guys know what happened.
Which
Brescher hit a
Brescher is
ball
that?
that I could have sworn was at least 320, 330. It was
Avi,
surely
which pressure is that?
from Lakewood. What's his first name again? Um, what's his first name? Lefty. Unbelievable. David Brad. He played on.
He has the
yeah.
same name as the FM Home Loans.
Yes, yeah. So he played. I think it is. Yeah, yeah. It is. So we won the championship in care together. Shirley Freeman happened to have an unbelievable over the shoulder catch. Before that at bat, I kept moving him back, and he got upset at me. The guy hit a moonshot. But you're right, Yossi. I mean, people typically aren't hitting the ball that far. If your defense plays perfectly, and by the way, we didn't. Again, this is not to throw my guys into the bus. They're great players. We were going up against two other a super team, a team that won 3 RSK championships in a row, and a team who I don't think it's possible to have a better defense than Yossi's team. So we're going against 3 teams that were definitely a level above us. It's not like we had an absolute star-studded defense, but we played amazing defense. The guys, everyone played up to their best ability. Aaron Scheinbein in the semifinals for all the everything that happened in the championship. Played unbelievable. Yakov Sawa played great. Our outfield of America Stetner and Menachem Neumann, other than them two deciding not to catch a pop-up and dropping between them, that was like the only error we had between both. No, I'm serious. I think that was the only error we had between both games. They were perfect. Our defense is not as good as other defenses. We're not as talented. We're no Sammy Soros and Moshe Zins or Mayers or Stimmel or Yossi Rosenberg, who played out of their mind in the championship. But we all just played literally perfectly. And if you play perfectly, you could beat any game. And I think that's what it came down to. And Jonassen's team got burnt by that. Obviously, listen, would Grossman have hit better if he was in the field? Maybe. JT Rose would have been in the lineup because he was on fire during the playing games? Maybe. Those are all questionable calls that you can look back at and see, oh, maybe that should have been it. But ultimately, it comes down to our team just catching fire. And I think, unfortunately, those wins were so dramatic and sucked so much energy out of us. And then waiting an hour plus, I just think our team wasn't mentally ready to go. And we played a sloppy game in the championship, and we got blown out as we deserved to get blown out. And I think it's as simple as that.
Do you think if you guys had played perfectly, you might have been able to win in the championship?
1,000%. What do you mean?
Or just overmatched?
No, if we played a perfect game like we did against this, I just said that against the Laundry team, we could have played with any team. Doesn't matter how good they are. Maybe if you're playing against a sling team throwing 90 miles an hour, we might not be able to touch the ball. That's a different story. But like in modified softball, I think the way we played, we could have beat anybody. Could have competed with anybody at the very least.
Right. Menachem, I see you just sent me a video on WhatsApp. What's that? And should I share it?
Yeah, no,
with
it
the
was just because
audience?
we were talking about the walk-offs and the wins. I happened to have gotten Avi's second walk-off on video, and Yossi, I got the last out of your guys' championship because I knew that Hertz is going to be watching this video for the next 5 years every night before he goes to bed. And you know what? I said this yesterday to Josh Pewty. I obviously Edelman's team. I love Avi. I love Scheinbein. I love Yakov Sabo. These are my guys. Stetner. These are my guys that I play with in the HSL. I love Avi's team, but I do have a soft spot for the Rosenbergs. So as much as I was rooting for Avi, I was very happy to see Yossi and Hertz win, especially Hertz. I've been playing with Hertz for 5 or 6 years now on the Tigers, and we haven't gotten over that hump yet. So to see Hertz win a championship,
You're close. You're one win, Menachem.
Hey, we're not talking about it. We're not
Sorry,
talking about it. We're not going to jinx
let's-
the rain. We're not going to jinx anything. Me and Yossi have to stay focused, but we're not even talking about that. But I was very happy to see Hertz win a championship. So because I know how happy he was about it. So I got that on video.
Let's
for
take a look
for
at the
you guys.
videos.
This is mine. I haven't seen. This is mine or is the championship?
No, this is the championship, and
So
then
should I do Avi's first?
Yeah,
This is the
I've yet.
walk-off,
I want to relive this because again, probably the most thrilling softball I've ever been a part of in my
Should I
life.
do it at half speed, Avi?
By the way, just to let you know, Yossi Kauf, Diamonds he pitched around me here to. No, maybe was that the first game where they also pitched around? That was the first game where I was pitched around.
and this was Avi on second base. I don't think it was Aaron Feldberg because it wasn't. It was Avi.
No, I took a slot. I took a slot.
What? I know, right? It's just on the fire. We got.
I was sitting on the bench. I was so tired.
Wow.
Who is the base
Great
hitter?
one.
Who is the batter? Wow. Dicker, who is the hitter? Who is the hitter?
Goldstein guy.
Max
Goldstein, I
Goldstein?
don't know his name.
Max Goldstein.
All right, now let's see Yossi Rosenberg.
That was Max Goldstein, by the way. Shout out to Shirley Friedman for bringing him along. He had a couple of clutch hits.
So what are we looking at here, Dicker? This is just the end of the game.
This is just the last out of the champion of the.
You could tell by the
because 12-0. Right.
You could tell by the celebration why, about a blowout it was. And how empty it was there also because it was such a bad game.
You see Hurts jumping onto the
It happens to be it's crazy with that's Jack Bonner. He pitched most of the day actually, and he was our late addition for our second pitcher. Our first pitcher, Yitz, I think wasn't feeling well, so he didn't.
Yitz in general has a very tough time in the heat. I feel so bad for him because I feel like he lives through this stuff. He just
also we had an issue in the morning with the umpires.
Yeah.
And we had to fill
That's
games.
what happened to us at the Gridiron Gauntlet. At the football
The issue was that
we had a no-show from 3 refs.
Our umpire agency did not come through for us for 2 of the games in the first seeding game. So we had to cover it, and Yitz umped one of them. So we had 2 commissioners umping the games in B, not in A, because Yitz plays in A, so we can't do that anyway.
Who else umped?
Yaakov Kahana. He's also one of the commissioners, right? So them 2 took games in B for the first seeding game. And it's hard. You know, you're standing there and you're on every single play, and then to go and pitch, he came immediately to our field and pitched against Lohinger.
It's a tough pitch. So
Yossi, I will say, sorry to cut you off, Dave.
Go ahead.
That obviously I enjoyed yesterday. The whole everything was run great. The whole event was unbelievable. I will say any league, any tournament, you're always hearing complaints about the umps in some form, even in the HSL, even in the MSL, even in any other tournament I've ever been a part of. I did not hear. I had one ump that made a horrendous call on me, but like it wasn't a pattern. And I will say the umpires yesterday were great. Like I didn't hear anyone complaining about it, and they were good. Again, I had one instance where the guy just made a really bad call. But other than that, like it wasn't like oh, he's calling super high, super low.
Right.
It was like smooth. I didn't hear anyone complain.
I definitely had some complaints here and there with this one, with that one, but I think overall you're right that this year was particularly good with the umpires. But here's the thing that I always tell everyone when it comes to the umpires for the tournament is they're like, oh, you can't have this this one's bad. And I'm not talking about this year specifically. It's like a general thing like, oh, this one, you can't have him back, whatever. I'm like, you don't understand how many umpires we need. You take what you can get.
Right.
You realize like with the seeding games, I got 7 games. This year 7 games going on for 3 hours straight. Then I got another 7 games going on after. It's just a lot of umpires.
Yeah.
You take what you're given, and that's it.
And if 1 or 2 out of 7 are really bad, like I mean, you know, those are good. Those are good numbers.
We have a couple minutes. Let's get to a couple. Well, first, Meaningful People wants to know what happened by Field 9. I don't know what that is.
He's just messing around.
What's Field 9?
That was the sand.
He's trying to get on what's his name? Ellie Race's nerves there.
Oh, that makes sense. And then he also wants ABS analytics from the games that Yitz and Kahana but anyway, Yossi, great job yesterday. Let's get into some of the controversies. What happened in the going on in the HSL players chat today? Some people are saying that there were ineligible players on the Tier 2 championship squad, and they want they're out for blood. And they're thinking of doing a nude protest at next year's RSK.
I did not hear this. That's amazing.
Okay, no nude.
Honestly,
protest,
there's a fundraising opportunity to get people to pay to come laugh. I'm just saying. So
that's great.
I'll be honest. A lot of the controversy is stuff that I found out after the fact. So it wasn't like It wasn't like, we sanctioned something that really should never have been sanctioned. This was a lot of after the fact. And before we dive into it, I just want to say that some of the players who I spoke to, I apologize to, because even though I didn't know, like at the end of the day, we run the tournament. It's our responsibility to make sure, that things run the way they're supposed to run. And
Yeah, see, I want a
and
private
even,
apology. They eliminated me. I want a private apology. And you know what? You owe me a pizza
fair
oven
enough.
for that.
After, you're right. Actually, tonight.
If we're playing, yeah.
What was I gonna say? And
Yeah.
again, even the people who are like, well, it didn't really even have an impact, but still, it's irrelevant if it had an impact. If you beat them, it's still not fair. If there are players who shouldn't be playing, they shouldn't be playing. The outcome does not matter. What seems to have happened is that there was a team that had 9 guys registered going into the game, going into the tournament. They were told they can no longer add anyone at this point. They decided to add anyway. Now I'm not everywhere at once, so I can't know until I'm told. And in this case in particular, right, people didn't necessarily realize because they only had 10 at the end of the day. It wasn't like they suddenly had extra people playing in the field. They had the same as everyone else, and the guy had a jersey because we have enough jerseys for people. So they added despite me saying no.
They added just to have enough, or they picked up like 2 or 3 studs?
No, they added they added a body. Now,
One
I
person, they
don't
just
think it
added
was
one?
bad, but they got themselves to fill up 10 spots on the field. They did not have more than 10.
So can I ask how you're going to handle it?
You tell me, what do you think? At this
Not like the
point?
I would
Astros.
just-
I don't want to hear immunity for giving you the info. I think you strip them of the title and give it to Metro Builders. That's how it works.
I mean,
You know
I would
what?
obvious-
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, but then I'm like, that's just meaningless. Like, okay, you're the champions. No, because
Yes!
there we go.
What's the reason? Wait, Yossi, what's the reason why you can't add somebody the morning of the tournament?
I don't want to go into that now.
Okay,
Yeah.
but there are reasons for it.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Listen, Dave,
I mean,
I'll
what
get
I
out
would
of
But
here.
obviously-
regardless, at the end of the day, they were not allowed to for whatever the reasons, and they did it anyway, and that makes it
Right, no.
it was
So
ineligible.
it's not that one of the reasons I was curious is because this came up recently in our league when there's a rules violation that's sort of immaterial to the outcome. This was immaterial to the outcome in the sense that had he been added 10 days before or whatever the deadline is, it's what I mean. It's not like it's Bobby Valentine. They pull Jonas and Lowinger off a team. He shows up with a mustache and glasses and plays the championship game for them.
Right.
It's not that kind of rules violation. I think it's very important to keep in mind.
Yes.
I think rules violations only really matter if they're material to the outcome. Personally, other people might have a different view on it, but that's my take on it.
So I think it depends. It depends on what you mean by it doesn't matter. Does it matter to them being champions? Maybe not. Does it matter to the
integrity.
to the integrity of the tournament, to the thing? I think it does. And because
Okay.
also, and to build on that is, let's say in this case, right now it didn't matter to the outcome. Let's just for argument's sake accept that it did not matter to the outcome.
Mhm.
What happens if next year someone pulls the exact same move, and it does matter to the outcome?
Right.
100%.
Well, what am I going to say? Like, last year was fine because it didn't happen to matter. This year it's not fine because it happened to matter. Well, you can't. That's not a standard you can really work with.
Yeah,
It
you have to
either
wipe it
is
away
or
across
isn't
the
fine.
board. Yeah.
Once
Yeah.
Yossi, thank you for taking the time to answer the controversial questions. If I could throw another one at you. Crab wants to know, Crab 1029, what happened with Wellstone adding a player from another team?
So
Which team was
I'll be-
Wellstone?
That's they were. I think they were the gray jerseys with Kleiman and Bear.
Oh,
and-
and Husky
Gil
Itzowitz.
Kleiman,
Yeah.
good players. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The answer to that is, I honestly don't know. Again, this is something that I heard after the fact, and I heard mixed reports, and that's the only answer I have. I genuinely don't know what happened there, and it never really got followed up on because they lost. So
It
I
ha-
never
it-
got the full information.
Gotcha.
But assuming that happened, that's wildly unacceptable, and to the point
Oh, it
where
is.
unacceptable.
Even if the captain of the opponent agrees to it.
So two things. One,
Yeah.
it was actually asked if they can do something like that, and I said no, and I didn't really, and that was a flat answer, and apparently it happened anyway. I don't know the details, but the answer was no. Two, no captain on another team should ever be put in the position to where they're asked to, like, where they have a choice between being made to feel like they're going to have to be a jerk about it or giving in because they don't want to be. That's not fair.
That's a good point.
It's
Very good
not
point.
fair. And like what? Well, Kevin's gonna say, "Oh, you only have 9, so therefore I'm gonna say no, and that's how I'm gonna win." Like that's not fair. That's not a way to do things.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will say I did hear a team. I heard somebody go over to a player on that team on Wellstone. I'm not going to say any names here. Somebody
Please.
went over to a player on the other team and said, "Hey, I heard you guys are down a guy. Can I play for you?" And not that the guy said, "Oh, I want to cheat and play for you." The guy didn't realize it was against rules. He just wanted to play more softball. And that guy said, "Honestly, I don't think it's right. Let me find out if it's allowed." And then maybe that's the guy who came over to you and asked you if it could do it, and you said no. But the guy like didn't sneak him on and say, "Let me try," and whatever. Both guys were like honest about it, and then he's like, "I'm sorry, you can't do it," and he didn't play. But then I guess
Okay.
maybe somebody else did. I don't know.
Okay. I have two
I don't.
more-
I don't know. The details never really got to me, except for the point where there was someone who asked, and I said, "Absolutely not. It's
Right.
not a thing. I don't let it." And look, sometimes I feel bad, right? Guys, unforeseen things happen. This guy leaves, that guy leaves. But you know what? It happens to every single team, and I always have to say no to other teams. Things like that. At the end of the day, that's part of why you carry extra people.
I was gonna say it's why you bring
Right.
a little bigger roster. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, two more questions. One question is people were asking this morning in the players chat. People want another complaint, if you will, but not really a complaint. More of just hawking about the thing in the tier one having a 3-game semis and a 1-game championship. Would you consider eliminate? Let's say there's 4 teams again next year, which there's realistically a very good chance of because people are intimidated by tier one. Would you consider having no seeding games, a lottery, and just 2 3-game series? Maybe make them 8 innings, or because the reasoning would be that you diminish the champs a little bit by having the longer semis, right? Well, actually, let's take it back a step. What was your logic with the 3-game semis and the 1-game champs?
So backing up a little bit more, originally we put out the format for Tier A was going to be 3 seeding games into the semis and then a championship. So everyone would have faced everyone in the semis. You play in the seeding, and then you play semis championship. It was then pointed out by Menachem Diamondstein that there's a better way,
the king.
Yeah.
to make it that the games are you have fewer seeding, because seeding, look, at the end of the day, it's fun to play softball and they matter to some extent, but it's not that same level of competition when the game
Especially not when there's when there's 4 teams. Not like when there's 12
Right.
teams, yeah, one playing 12, that makes maybe a little bit, or 10 teams. But before you have 4 teams, it really diminishes it a little bit.
Yeah, and he was like, you should do it this way. And we talked about it, me, Yitz Greenbaum, Yakukan, and I was like, I love it because that means that every game is meaningful. Yeah, you're not going to be eliminated every game after lunch, but that first game, that matters a lot. And it creates that level. So that's why we went to the 3. I don't like at that point. What are you going to do? 3-game championship? Nobody has the ability to do that. I mean, think about it, Avi. Could you have gone 3 games
No,
for championship?
no, absolutely not, absolutely
Right.
not. I think
We
if
even talked about doing.
Right.
Should we play 7 or 9? And we both agreed
Yeah.
9 is not happening.
Yeah, I went over to Yossi before the game, Dave. Yossi's like, so what do you want to do? I'm like, anything but 9. I'm like, just not 9.
Get
And
me
at one
home.
point, we even brought up, should it be 6 or 7?
Yeah.
Maybe do 6, and we are like, all right, we'll just go with 7 because it should be 7.
Yeah.
But there's no, you can't do it. So then at that point, you're talking about if you want to make the championships 3, that means semis is 1. Like,
I think the 3-game semis came in, at least my angle of why it made sense is because being that the playing games are basically meaningless for the most part. You don't want like let's say a team like me to like imagine we walked off Diamond Scene in game one and that was it. Like you don't want to allow a quote unquote weaker team to have a fluky, not fluky, but like I don't know, someone drops a pop up in center and a 4-run score and you lose 4-2. Like you want the team to actually earn their way to the championship, especially with 4 teams and everybody's playing each other regardless in the semis. And there's
Yeah.
nothing really to play for. That was my process on it. You want a team actually to earn their way to the championship. Once you get there, you've already earned your way to the championship. So now you have 2 teams who earned it, battling it out in one game.
I
That was
agree.
just that was my logic as to why I thought it made sense.
Menachem, do you have any what year tournament was this for you?
This is my first. I was an RSK rookie. This was my first.
Oh, an
my
RSK,
first
an
year.
RSK rookie. Is there any feedback?
So
you
were
could
9
give-
of my players, by the way.
Was there any feedback you'd give Yossi about the tournament in general, or about?
Dude,
or
I had a
about
great
these-
time. I had a great time.
That is
Staying
good
hydrated.
feedback.
We're staying hydrated the day after. You know. Yeah. No, I told
Or
you.
about
I
the
said,
format, or about the format of the playing. Yeah.
So to be honest, it's very similar to any other tournaments I've ever been in, which was you automatically get 3 games of softball, at least 6 innings or more. I've always been a fan of that because after the 3rd game is really when the fatigue starts to kick in, and really like when like you're not gonna feel like I'll be honest with you, I'm a tiny bit sore from like my left leg, but I'm fine today. Like other tournaments, I've always gone further than the 3rd game, and I could not move the next day. Like right now, I'm fine. I love the minimum 3 game format. Obviously, I would love to have played 5, 6, 7 games. Like I don't care. I would have loved to play more, but I love the format of it. I love that it's 6 innings and more. The 5 innings to me, I like 6 and more. I think that should be the minimum of every game, unless you're in that supplemental game, which I understand can only be 4 innings or so. But I loved the format of it. I think that it was easier for tier 2 because we had what, Yossi, 8 teams?
10 teams.
8 teams in
You
tier
had 10.
2. So 10, sorry, even better. So like it's very simple to kind of get that format going, but I thought it was great. It was a very well run. Nobody was ever running around like a chicken without their heads, like where we playing, who we playing. Everything was very clear, well run, professional, and good. Like honestly, just a lot of nice guys. Like I've been to certain tournaments before where you play against some teams with some real like jerks. Either they take the game too serious, the trash talk gets a little too like bad language and just bad vibes. I don't know. Every team we played were nice guys. From Muncie, Lakewood, Brooklyn, like anywhere. I don't know. It was really enjoyable. Even like during the food and everything, it was nice to like see guys that you don't see so often. And just very, very impressed with
Great
the
vibes.
overall.
Great vibes.
Great vibes. Great merch. I love that short sleeve hoodie thing. Yeah, see, that's key for guys who want to get the hell out of that nasty jersey after
That is 100% why we do it.
It's such a good move. This is great. The bag is awesome. Like I have only the best things to say about.
And
RSK.
if you're a dairy guy, the pasta and pizza were just next level. Like it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Who made it?
Like,
Where did it come
Pizza
from?
could have came out a little quicker, but that's not Yossi's fault.
At the end, by the
Funny
way,
because
I'm
yeah.
kidding.
last year it was the same. It was Pizza Pizza, and
Yeah.
last year they were great with the pizza coming out. It's just I
They're
guess
great,
how
they're great.
yeah.
big
Yeah.
league, big
By
league.
the way,
I
it's
made that
funny,
mistake.
Talking about the food,
Yeah.
talking about the food. I was it on at like 3:00. I look at my phone and there's the captain's chat, and I'm like, now I know I'm at a real Jewish softball tournament because Captain wrote, "Can someone bring Tums to field 2?"
All right, last question, then I gotta go. Yossi, what comes next for RSK Tournament 2027 and beyond?
We start brainstorming now for thinking about things like do we want to go bigger back to a bigger 16 teams? Not sure yet. Got to think about it. I don't know. Do you are you like asking for something specific that you want, or
The only thing.
I think Edelman adds Dicker to his tier 1 squad and they win the championship and they dethrone.
Yeah,
Yossi.
baby.
To me, that's
Um,
the clear answer.
yeah?
But
Look,
I
I'll
had
tell
a
you. Here's one of the
magnificent-
things. Here's one of the things that I would love to figure out how to improve because I know people don't like it, and I have yet to come up with an idea. And even the people who are like, "Oh, I have an idea," turns out they don't have an idea. That's supplemental round. I know people don't like it, but we have 10 teams in Tier V. It's how do you get down from 10 to a number that gets you to a championship without the supplemental round? Now, do you know what the supplemental round is? Okay, so the way we do it is you have round one after lunch. Round one, you eliminate 5 teams, right? They play, 5 teams are out. But now you have 5 teams left. How do you get down? So what we do is teams the number 4 and number 5, those 2 winners play each other in
It's
a
like a playing
shortened
game. It's like a playing
game. They play each other in a shortened game, and the one that wins advances and plays the number 1.
And how do you determine who number 4 and 5 is?
No.
Based on seeding. It's not necessarily 4 and 5.
It's
two
the worst,
lowest
the 2
seeds.
worst seeds that are still sticking around.
Correct.
Very interesting.
They will
Let
play
me-
each other.
Let me
and
think about
now,
that. My biggest
that's-
concern, yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's the only way I can find to get us down to 4. That's to me the only way to do it. Or the other method is to force someone from B to go to A, and even things out a bit. But I think that just makes for bad softball. Like, why do you think I went with 10-4 this year? Not because I wanted to be 10-4. I think 6-8 is way better. But I think that the worst is having 2 teams that don't belong in A play in A. It's not fun for anyone. It's not fun for the B team. It's not fun for the A team, and it just makes for worse softball.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to give a little thought to that. Maybe ask some other guests. Hopefully, we'll have some more guests on about the tournament. My concern is somebody who's been to 2 tournaments, had a fabulous time this time. Last time was a little rough because of the heat, and I had a pretty young child with me and a nursing wife. But, I mean, awesome nonetheless. It was a me problem. Is the length of the day. And as somebody who's now considering bringing a team next year, for
Yeah, you should know, Yossi,
2027.
the first thing that David told me, I think I called him to mope after the tournament. I don't think maybe at some point, maybe it was at the tournament. David's like,
No, it was after the tournament. You called me on
David,
the way home.
yeah,
You
David's
thought
like,
I was gonna
I
keep you
am
company
bringing a tier 2 team next year to show everyone that HSL will win the tier 2 championship.
I didn't say we'll win the tier 2, but I know all these guys. Big League Dicker, I captain him. You know, he was my assistant. He got demoted. You know, these guys need to learn how to. These guys, you know, it's Bushas and Klimas over there in Warren Inco Park.
By the way, people think they hear tier 2 and they're like, "Oh, it's a lower level. Like anyone could win it." No, it's legit. Tier 2
Of
is
course,
legit.
Yossi, just like tier
Definitely
2,
legit.
just like tier 2 in the
Definitely.
night league, we lost you. You weren't there last week. We lost you 8-7. That was a hard fought game with both sides really good players. Anyway, the day is very, very long.
But there's nothing you can do about that. And again, I've asked guys before. I've put together teams and tournaments. The guys are like, I can't give my Sunday. I'm like, listen. They're like, oh, what time will I be back? I said, no. If you are playing in RSK and any other tournament, you need to know that you are waking up at 6:30, 7 a.m. and you're getting home at 9:30, 10 o'clock
Yeah,
at night.
so
dead tired, and that's
Big
it.
League,
You're committing to the day.
No, Big League, I got you, but
Yeah.
especially for people with family, you're committing to the day. People with families, it's still just hard.
It's extremely hard, of course.
It is a long day.
It's so funny.
Yeah. Yaakov Sabo, he wrote, David's team. If David brings a team, it needs to be called Shmira Salashin. Yesterday I got to the
Yeah, Yaakov was telling me that Gottlieb had a potty mouth.
I got to the game. I like at an HSL game. Adam Hoffman takes a runner. I show up at the game, Hoppy. The first play, Adam Hoffman gets him, takes a runner, and I'm like, what kind of bullshit is that, Adam? You're taking a runner. And somebody's like, Dave's going to be the first guy to ever be thrown out of an RSK tournament. There were like 20 kids around. It's still Dicker. I hear what you're saying.
With your kid on your lap, nonetheless.
He's heard a lot worse.
Look, by the way, I
Yeah.
get it. It is a long day, but to me, that's like a feature, not a bug. This is
I'm
a
with you,
day,
Yossi. I'm with you.
This is a day of softball, and I'm telling you, like we do that family time. You saw it. There's a
amazing.
reason why we do that for family.
Yeah, you have to.
It's to help balance things out. I can tell you, I wasn't the one who took the lead on family time. The work
took the
we had
lead?
It's someone, Mrs. Razy Schwartz. She's this year was a big part of was the brains behind it, and I was in a support role.
My
there.
son had a great time. Last night we went to sleep, I asked him about the day. He kept talking about the con candy, and he kept calling them ice cones. He kept calling them ice cones.
My kid got a little baseball tattooed under his right eye. He couldn't stop talking about it.
But and you know what? We spend all that effort and time and focus on the family time to allow the softball to be a full day event.
All right, guys,
Yeah.
my patient's 4:15, and unfortunately, this one never comes late. It's
No, dude,
unlike
it's fine. I
some
don't
of
mind
them.
if you're late. We can talk later. It's okay.
Okay, I'm good. Yossi, thanks so much for coming on and for everything you're doing for the Klal. You see, Yaakov Sabo, I have some good stuff in me also. Kolosik b'tzarchet zibor, HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yisrael Secharim. Doesn't just apply to Torah, it applies to everything. Big League
Give us a
Dicker,
bracha, Dave.
Big League Dicker, always a pleasure to see you. Avi, always a pleasure to talk
Amir
to you.
Hashem at the 2027 Tier 1 Championship. Edelman back on top. Amen.
All right, baby.
Thanks, guys.
Avi